Hello and welcome back to the channel. This video is a little different and the first in what will be an ongoing series of testing out meal prep kits and apps. The first one I'm trying is Marley spoon, and what we'll be judging against is the following. Cost: was it cheaper than doing our usual grocery shop and buying takeaways? Time: is this faster than our usual meal prep? Taste: is it tasty? Would I eat it again? Does it look like the photo? I know it's a kind of strange rubric, but I want to see if it still looks appetizing when the average person makes it. And would I use the service or app again? We used Marley spoon for 2 weeks, getting 4 meals each week. The ordering process was fairly simple, but I did find it frustrating that even though I was asked about my allergens in my profile, meals containing them weren't filtered out. The first week we chose beefsteak and salsa verde, green chili chicken rice, pulled pork burrito bowl, and family fave chicken noodles. For week 2, our meals were 20-minute Japanese pork bowl, Caribbean beef pockets, family fave Asian chicken, and originally a noodle dish, but due to an egg noodle shortage, we swapped this to a spicy capsicum chicken. This wasn't the only alteration that was made, with me getting an email letting me know that the passata for the pulled pork burrito would be substituted for tomato paste. Our week 1 order arrived late Monday afternoon, normally around the time that I would start prepping dinner. All the meat and dairy came stored separately in a cooler bag with a frozen gel pack. There's a good range of Australian producers being featured, which is a nice touch. Meal 1 was the green chili chicken rice. First thing that strikes me when I open the bag is that a lot of the ingredients are individually wrapped. While some of this is recyclable, a lot of it is plastic, and if you don't have a recycle bin at your closest supermarket, this could be really frustrating. The instructions were simple to follow, and the meal was really good. This was probably my favourite meal for week 1. Meal 2 was the steak and salsa verde. This is where we kind of start hitting a couple of wobbles with Marley spoon. Firstly, the tomato we received was split and had started to go mouldy. The next wobble was the instructions for making the salsa verde. Where on meal 1, there was instructions to use a stick blender to make a paste, there was no clear instructions with the verde, just to chop roughly, where normally you would use a stick blender. But for sake of testing things out, I followed the instructions. I wish I hadn't. Lastly, the Hasselback potatoes being covered in breadcrumbs felt a little odd and also really didn't match the meal well. Cooking the potatoes for a little longer and at a slightly higher temperature would have given a bit more of a crunch. Still, it was a pretty solid midweek meal. Meal 3 was the family fave chicken noodles. This was super easy to prepare, but we found the recommended time for cooking the vegetables was not long enough. With a little adjusting, we would probably revisit this again. Meal 4 was the pork burrito bowl. The lettuce we received was brown and smelt funky. The spring onion was also in pretty bad shape, so we quickly yeeted them into the bin. We looked at the ingredients that were left over and decided to make a bit of like a garbage bowl. Our first meal for week 2 was spicy capsicum chicken. The recipe was super easy to follow, but the flavours of the meal weren't balanced well. I was so thankful for the avocado. Family fave Asian chicken was super tasty and probably my favourite meal of the 2 weeks. It was super easy to follow the recipe, and I never thought to put together the coconut milk and creamed corn. This is where things started to really hit the fan. We started prepping the Caribbean pockets and the meat smelled awful. like it'd been off for a few days. We binned it and then decided to check the meat for the Japanese pork bowl, and that also smelt off. So we didn't get to have the last 2 meals of week 2, which is very frustrating when you pay quite a lot of money for one of these meal deals. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the rubric and decide whether or not Marley Spoon is worth it. Starting with cost. 4 meals for the week costed $97, including shipping. Considering that some of the ingredients we couldn't use because they either came moldy or off, this is quite expensive. Time. Yes, this did save us a lot of time because for me in particular, when I get home from work, half the time is me going, what am I going to cook? How am I going to cook it? What am I going to be putting with the main protein for the night? Taste. Well, it's kind of hard to rate this because we didn't get to try some of the meals because either meat was off, vegetables were off. So I've sort of discounted it for this time. Does it look like the photo? 9 times out of 10, it did. Even if I just slopped it into a bowl, it had some resemblance to what was in the picture promoting it. And I must give Marley Spoon props for that. And finally, would I use Marley Spoon again? No. Whilst Marley Spoon does include most of the things that you need to cook the meal, it does run on the assumption that you have a lot of condiments at home. Whilst in some kits you will be supplied the appropriate size of, say, mirin, others will still ask you for white wine vinegar, and then you have to go and buy that white wine vinegar, which can vary in price. And if you're only using it for a small amount, you've wasted about $5-6 on something that you'll never use again. This plus the fact that there was not a wide range of meals that I could actually order that did not have a lot of allergens in them. Some of the produce that we were supplied was not usable, and the price, it's definitely not worth trying again for me personally. So that's my review of Marley Spoon. If you've had a similar experience to me, or a more positive or more negative experience, please let me know in the comments below. Also, if you have another service that is worth comparing to Marley Spoon, also let me know. Thank you for watching to the end, and please don't forget to like the video. Thanks for watching!